Thank you very much. And now, gentleman from Georgia, Dr. McCormick.
Thank you, Dr. Chairman. I appreciate you all being here. I have so many questions. I'm going to have you limit your answers to get each one of you a good question to less than a minute. You're looking at what quantum technologies represents into the future and its promise and its application. The way we get the sources to actually do the quantum projections, the research, the integration between all the people, all the different nuances that it takes to put this together, and actually the way it's going to be applied are really important to me, including the supply side economics of this, as well as the investment. So I'll make this as concise as possible. If you can kind of think about how it ties in as we go. I'll start with you, Dr. Merzbacher. Quantum hardware relies heavily on rare earth minerals, many of which we get from China. And they've actually kind of cornered the market on many they get from Africa and other places where they've kind of exploited. What do you see to our future as far as the way we're securing our ability to gain those resources to keep us competitive in this market?
Well, this is a really important question. Of course, quantum is not the only technology that depends on rare earths. In fact, it probably has a relatively small footprint overall, but it's critical nevertheless. And that would be just an example of one of the types of materials that are going to need to be secured, along with things like helium-3 and ultra-pure silicon, isotopically pure. So there are many materials, including rare earths, that we want to make sure we have access to in order to build these systems.
So you mentioned helium-3. I guess there's a lot on the dark side of the moon. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. They can't take it all. Dr. Shadbolt, DARPA is supporting several initiatives to move quantum sensing technologies from the lab into the field. What do you see as far as what we can do to help that actually become applicable? And what do you think the applications are going to be as they move forward?
Yeah, so Congressman, we were absolutely delighted to have graduated to the final phase of the DARPA Utility Scale Quantum Computing Program, now QBI. And I would really strongly commend the approach that DARPA has taken to doing this. Principally that is an evaluation program. So what DARPA did in pursuing this was to start from an assumption that quantum computers are useless and that nobody knows how to build one, and then to evaluate the claims of companies like ours who were claiming that it's going to be tremendously valuable, and we do know how to build one, and it's been extremely valuable to us to have been engaged with the DoD and the government in that kind of red team mode of operation. I can't commend that enough as a robustifying, sanitizing effect.
I tell you, I'm kind of scared about the future of quantum because I think the first one there kind of wins because that ends up opening Pandora's box to all the things we know it can be applied to. Dr. Tahan, what do you think the top application or the top applications, if there's a couple or a few, are going to be of quantum? We always know that it has to do with maybe code cracking and stuff like that. The defense to that, you know, offense, defense, you mentioned red team. What do you see as the future in the next 5 to 10 years of its application, and who wins?
Yeah, well, in quantum computing specifically, I think in addition to the code-breaking aspects of a quantum computer, I think making things is what a quantum computer is going to be best at, helping scientists and engineers design new materials, new chemicals, new drugs and pharmaceuticals, and adding to our abilities that AI is already progressing, but allowing AI to reach areas that are hard to simulate. Like the things that are hardest for a classical computer to do are the things that actually the universe does really well, and a quantum computer can help us solve those better. So I think those are going to be the first scientific applications. We're going to see how they affect our economy. I'll just give an even broader point of view is that sensing now is impactful to our global positioning system, to operating our military in GPS-denied environments. Like that also needs investment to bring to military applications, also biomedical imaging. So there's a real lot of opportunities beyond.
Couldn't agree with you more, especially on that from a military standpoint, the application into terrain navigation and so forth, and then in the mapping out the human body and how we're going to solve those problems. Dr. Chow, I'll save this last one for you. It'll be quick, sorry. When it talks about startups and universities and people who are trying to develop this stuff, and it's broad application, everybody wants a piece of the pie. How do we divide it up? How do we get people included? How do we develop that work base, the education base for what we need to get done in this industry?
Yeah, this is absolutely critical. We're going to need every single part of the United States, different sectors all working together, everything from universities, small businesses, private sector, large companies, and the government. So how do we do that? I think there's a lot of opportunities. Number one, if National Quantum Initiative can support more opportunities for public-private partnership. That's things like finding ways for industry and academia to collaborate better together, industry and national labs, and looking at these shared use facilities, really going to help encourage and increase the entire pie.
All right, I'm out of time. Thanks for your time. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield.